I'm Annie.
And we are just going to give you some tidbits here on some costume things that we know people are dealing with costumes. And the first thing that I want to tell you is that costumes are very delicate.
Yeah.
They're not something that should be played in. Both of us have been in dance for a long time. And your costume isn't gonna stay perfectly looking brand new by the end of the year. So we're gonna give you a couple things to try to help keep your costume intact.
Yes.
First, and if you have any costumes that have flowers on them, like this, these are very delicate. We did double tack them down sewing them, but there's still a chance that you might lose some flowers. So to help protect against that, you could do things like hot glue. You could add hot glue. You could put a safety pin from the back side and pin it through the flower and make sure you get every petal. That's gonna help you protect and keep those flowers on. Next thing, with hemming, if you have pants that are too long, I'm sure you probably dealt with that.
Always, shorty.
We always build our pants to be extra long because we have a lot of dancers with long legs, and you can always make your pants shorter, but you can't make them longer. So that's why they come so long. But a couple things that you can do is just hem them by putting safety pins in them. And do you want to say anything about having them on?
Yeah, so how to hem them though, don't just lay them down and eyeball it and say, I think I should just cut them or pin them here. Actually have your dancer try them on, put them where they want them, and then put your jazz shoes or whatever shoe you're gonna wear on as well. From there, you should fold and pin so it's grazing right above their heel of the jazz shoe or right above the floor. You don't want to then just cut it with the scissors and boom, you got floods.
And I've seen that happen a lot. So make sure that you almost want to, if you're gonna cut it, you almost want to cut it while it's on the dancer, and then go a little bit longer than you think. And then if you're gonna hem it with a pin, obviously you can change it if it doesn't work. But all you want to do is fold it into the middle. And then you're gonna take the safety pin and go from the inside so that you don't get a ton of silver on the outside. So you'll just go a little bit and a little bit, and then that will be on the inside. And then the outside, you'll just have just a little silver, which you're not gonna see from a distance. So that's a quick, easy way to hem your pants. Next little thing, to protect your hair pieces, because we all know hair pieces are so delicate and love to break right away. It's just the nature of hair pieces. So once you get your hair piece, to protect it from further damage, you can just put it in a little Tupperware container. You can use an old Cool Whip container or something, and all you have to do is just lay it on in there, and that's gonna help keep it in their bag so it doesn't get squished and the part doesn't get ripped off. So that's a nice, easy way to protect your hair pieces. Next little thing, if you have fringe on a costume, a lot of people wonder why it comes with this white string on the bottom. This is just to protect the fringe from getting in knots. So once you get it, I'm not gonna pull it off of this one so I don't wreck this one, but you're just gonna find the end of it, or you can even cut it if you can't find the end, and you literally, well, it's already happening now, but you literally can just take this and it'll just kind of pull off. So that's what you're gonna do, is just pull that white string off. It's just to protect the fringe. Once you get it, you can take it off.
Yep.
All right. Itchy costumes, if you have itchy costumes. Now what I always tell my dancers is, dance costumes itch, you just gotta deal with it. They're gonna itch, sorry, that's how it is. Put it on right before you perform, take it off right after, and you'll live through it. You're not gonna die from itching. However, I know a lot of people have really sensitive skin. So if your dancer is somebody that has like eczema or something with really sensitive skin, you can do things like take athletic tape, if I can get the athletic tape. Yeah. So if there's sequins in the seam, because that's a lot of times where they get itchy, because when they get cut off by the sewing machine, they get sliced in the middle, so they become kind of pokey. So if you get some sequins sticking out of the seam of the costume, you can just take athletic tape, which is really nice and soft, and you could just line it like right along the seam on the inside. And this one is nicely covered, so that's good because they sewed it inwards. So there's no sequin sticking through the seam, but you can just take that athletic tape and put it along the seam if that's where it's itching on, or along the neckline. If it's not the seam that's bothering them and it's the whole costume, like lace for example, that they're gonna probably just have to deal with. But if it's just sequins and you could wear a tank top underneath it and it's not gonna show through their costume, go for it. That's totally fine, as long as it doesn't mess with the design of what it's supposed to look like when it's on.
Before we get to the last gluing situation, again, costumes are very, very delicate. So when you take them out of the bag, don't just throw them into a dance bag. Hang them up before your competition, hang them up before your show, and treat it like it's a brand new suit or it's a brand new, what are people
prom dress.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's kind of what it is, and we were just having this discussion about that the fabric that is used on dance costumes seems like fabric that you would see on a prom dress, that kind of thing that you're not going to be wearing all the time and that you're not going to be like running around it. So really make sure that your dancer isn't playing in their costumes. It is for the performance. So it's not intended to go through a ton of wear and tear. They are really delicate and they can rip really easily. We get that a lot with sequins on seams. It's going to rip out. It's just something that happens. It's nature of dance costumes. So you have to be extra careful with it. And I mean, with our high school team, when they're actually moving a ton in their costumes, we get tons of holes and stuff, and we just pin them and have moms sew them, and it's just kind of what you have to do to deal with dance costumes because that's how they are. They are delicate. Okay, so this last one, any costume that you have with this material on it, it is all sewn by one little string that's connecting all of the sequins. So what we've had happen a little bit is that some dancers will see this string hanging there and they'll just yank on it. Well, guess what's gonna happen? Boom. You're gonna unravel all those sequins. So what we are suggesting, and it's not something you have to do, but this is just a little way to help protect from that, is you can get this kind of spray, E6000 spray adhesive, and it's, you can get it at Walmart, you can probably get it on Amazon. Joann's and that kind of stuff. But when you're doing this, you have to be very careful because when we did it, we had a little accident here as there wasn't anything put between there. So we got a lot of a mess here and it got stuck to a piece of paper and it ruined the back of the costume. So you really need to make sure that we brought some plastic somewhere. Where'd that go? Over there. You want to line the inside of the costume when you do this with some plastic.
Or if you have wax paper at home, like
perfect.
That's awesome for this. You just put wax paper underneath the costume.
Yep, so you just want to make sure it's fully in there. You want to get it in the sleeves too. I'm not going to do that right now to show you. But we actually have already sprayed the adhesive on here and you can see that it really doesn't wreck the sequin, so don't get nervous about that. When you look at it up close, yes, you can see it and you could look and see like, oh, there's glue on there. But from a distance, you're never going to be able to tell. But you want to make sure you get this kind because we haven't tested other kinds, so we don't want you to buy something that we haven't tested and then it wreck your costume. So we really suggest using this.
Yep. Another thing too, a lot of parents say, oh my gosh, the shine or the sparkle's not going to be there anymore with the glue. The glue is clear. The lights on dance studios or in the performance still reflect off of it. So it still keeps that shine, that sparkle, exactly what you paid for.
Yep, and so don't get nervous when you're spraying this on because it goes on a little white, so don't panic. That's just how it goes on. So all you're gonna have to do, and I would try to avoid getting it on any of these foil sections of the costume. You're gonna wanna really try to keep it just on the sequins.
Yep.
So once you get that plastic in there, make sure you have it all the way through, and make sure there's nothing under the costume because that's what happened to ours is there was a piece of paper under there and it just stuck to the costume. So then you're gonna hold it about this far away and you're gonna just spray it on the sequins. It's pretty easy. It should only take you like 5 minutes. And then you're gonna let it dry. I would hang it up to dry it.
Yes.
So once you get done sequining or spraying it, then you're gonna stand it up, hang it up, wherever you want. Just don't have it pushed up against something else. And it takes 1 to 5 hours to dry. So I think 5 is probably pushing it a little bit. They're just being cautious. But I would try to let it sit overnight at least.
One other thing with this E6000 is please don't panic and like you're at the show and you're like, we forgot to spray on our sequins. Don't spray it when it's on your child. Okay, this is like hard glue. Okay, we don't want like people getting reactions from it. Okay, so please spray it when it's off your child, off the dancer. Put that paper underneath, put that wax paper underneath so it's not sticking and your costume isn't glued together. Just please do that.
And then just again reminding your child that if they see a string, not to pull it. This should just help. It's not gonna like completely glue the sequins down, but it should help at least hold some of it down so that if you do get one sequin that falls off, it's not gonna react and hopefully pull off all the rest of them. So this is just kind of a way to prevent that from happening. But if you do see a part where like there's a string, just cut the string and then maybe add a little bit of glue to that part.
Yeah.
But don't let yourself just leave it hanging either. I would cut it off because otherwise you're gonna get that pulling happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how you protect your sequin costume.